All right. So this is a Pigskin Projects. For all intensive purposes, first mock draft that we are doing of the season. We're going to do plenty of these, but since it's the first one, we're going to start just doing the first round, no trades. But as the season goes on, or as the off season goes on, I think we'll mix in maybe 2-3 rounders if we have time. Some trade mocks in there as well. But let's go ahead and jump in. Um, I think last time we did this, you had one, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I will start off with one this time. Um, for me, it is really between two players here with the Tennessee Titans. Um, if you guys are interested to see the view on um, Cam Ward, who would be the choice here, you can go and listen. We did a video on that. But it's really between Cam Ward and Abdul Carter here. But I think there's, like Matt had said, just a whole lot of needs for this Tennessee Titans team. And I think you just take the best player available. And for me on my board, that's Abdul Carter. And I'm going to do it here. Abdul Carter's going to be the pick. Um, and to be able to pair him up with a guy like Jeffrey Simmons and really create a dominant front within that defensive line is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I completely agree. If you stay at this pick, you need to pick Abdul Carter. You need to pick the best player in the class at a premium position that you have a need for. Like they need an edge. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Cleveland is fascinating because Cleveland has an abundance of needs. They were kind of hoping Abdul Carter was here, so it makes a Myles Garrett trade more palatable in the future. There are so many different layers I could choose. You could pick Hunter. I think Hunter is a special player that you would love to pick. Mason Graham is a top 5 player. Imagine you get Myles Garrett back on board. You have a guy like Mason Graham in the interior with a Garrett. You could take O-line. I think Will Campbell, even Tedero McMillan, but I am going to stray with position value. I'm going to go Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward at number 2 makes a ton of sense. I think we're done with the Deshaun Watson experience. Jameis is going to walk. DTR is not it. They just need to find some stability at the quarterback position. Watson has the Achilles, like it got re-ruptured, I'm pretty sure, so he's going to miss time anyway. And if you're Cleveland with a coach like Stefanski, who is a professional coach, makes things work, and a roster that a year ago was playing in the playoffs, so it's clear that this roster has enough juice to it that you're not going to be picking it too many times often, and getting the best quarterback, in my opinion, by far the best quarterback, is a very valuable tool for them. So I like Ward at 2 if there's no trade up to 1 to kind of swoop Cam Ward from Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think early on in the process, people were like, well, maybe they'll go somewhere else other than Cam Ward, and I could see them going somewhere like Travis Hunter or something. But with quarterback being such an important position, and Deshaun Watson being such a just awful garbage fire,
Liability.
go out and figure it out, and yeah, and maybe taking an actual good quarterback could actually convince Myles Garrett to stay. We'll see. Moving on to the New York Giants. That is a shame. As the GM of the Giants here in this situation, was really hoping Cam Ward was going to make it to this pick. And he just didn't, which is a shame, and there's no shot. I am taking Shedeur Sanders this high. It's just going to go back to taking BPA. And at this point, I'm going to go Travis Hunter. He's just one of the most fun players to watch. If he is going to play both ways in the NFL, which I don't really see happening, you can do that. But, they still need help at wide receiver. I know they just took Neighbors, but they still need help there. And they desperately need help at the cornerback position as well. So it's just a very easy pick.
One thing on Hunter before we move on. Where would you play him?
That was tough. So I started the process saying he is a corner because if he wants, because I don't think he's playing both ways. I think he could get sub packages. So I started the process saying, well, it'd be easier if he was a corner and got sub packages at wide receiver. But then after kind of doing a quarterback breakdown and watching a little bit of Shadur's tape, I'm like, okay, this dude is actually obviously, as we all know, a dog on both ends. It is really hard. It's really dependent on what team he goes to. I think in the case of the Giants, I think I would probably have him be a corner just because they need it so bad, and then have him moonlight as a wide receiver. But it could really go both ways. Like if he fell to the Jaguars, I would see him being a wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he's a receiver first before anything else. I think he's a great corner, but there's some special stuff with his quick twitch and his yards after catch and even his jump ball that I am just like enthralled with him being a receiver at the next level and pairing that with Neighbors. Are you kidding? Like it would be special stuff for that receiver room.
Scary.
But New England, pretty easy. What do you want to do? How do you want to help Drake May? That's the first question. Because this pick is centered around your last year's first-round pick, Drake May. Do you want Tetero McMillan, the best receiver, comparable to Hunter as a receiver, maybe even a little better? Or do you want Will Campbell, who's the best, lineman in the class, like easily the best lineman, but has his warts as a tackle, maybe is going to kick inside? Do you want to take a guard at 4? I have Tetero here pretty easily. I think he's a special receiver. If you dropped him in last year's receiver class, like I'd have him very close to a Dunze. I think he's a good mover at his huge size. Like, do they have him listed on here? They have him listed at 6'5", 210 or 212. Like, I completely see it. He is huge. He has yards after the catch ability. He has an insane catch radius because of that size. Yeah, I am all on board with Tetero McMillan, and you saw what New England sprinted out there last year. When Pop Douglas and Hunter Henry are your primary pass catchers for Drake May, neither one of those guys should be like truly starting on an elite team in the NFL. So, yeah, I just get some more pass catching juice in the room for me for Drake May.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have to go out and you have to surround your young quarterback with some help, which they clearly did not have. Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys are probably Jaguars fans are probably pretty upset. I don't know how many Jaguars fans there are, to be frank, but the ones that are out there are probably getting upset because it's the same pick over and over and over again, and it's the same pick for a reason. It's going to be Mason Graham. He has some of the most sure tape of literally any prospect within this entire class. Go out and again continue to make a very, very good defensive line. I mentioned it with Abdul Carter there with 1, but it's going to be that same sentiment here at 5. You have 2 very good edge rushers there. Now go out and get a guy in the middle and create, maybe what could be another Saxonville Jaguars situation that we saw, 10 years ago.
No, I completely agree. Those edge rushers are great. You get another juice on the interior as good as Mason Graham is, could really push you. The Raiders are interesting because they bring in Pete Carroll, they bring in Chip Kelly. It's a new, style of offense. They need juice, feels like everywhere. They really need a quarterback. I don't know how the, free agency is going to go for them. But I'm going to assume they are not interested in Shador. They either have a quarterback or a stopgap, or maybe they get someone in the later rounds. So I'm not going to be taking Shador at 6. Instead, I'm going to be taking the best player on the board, Ashton Genty. And this is a team, they need the run. It's just, they need the juice in the offensive end. Like, if McMillan was here or Hunter was here, I would make that case. But getting Genty at 6, you're just getting BPA, even if it's a running back. I think just getting the overall juice in their run game. Like last year, they were sprinting out Alexander Madison and Zamir White. Like, if there's any running back group in the league that can support getting just juice and a talent increase at the running back position, it might be the Raiders. Nobody else comes close. So I have Genty pretty easily here. I understand if you want to, take an edge to put alongside Max Crosby. You don't know if he's going to stay, or even a corner like Will Johnson, but Genty is too good to pass up at 6 for me. And I just that's what it comes down to.
No, absolutely. He's the last blue chip prospect, and good teams draft the best players available outside of positional value, and it was a position that they needed at that. So, well, you made this quite easy for me. Kind of no matter where he ends up, whether this guy slots in, like you said, at guard or at tackle, they just need help. Go out and get the best offensive lineman in the entire class. They have been trying to remedy this offensive line for years now. It really hasn't worked. I know they just took a guy in the first round, but there's 5 of them. Go out and fill in another one of those 4 spots. It's Will Campbell. Just continue to build that offensive line there.
Yep, completely agree. Too good to pass up. Number 8, the Panthers. The Panthers could go so many unique ways. But I had Genty the last time we did this, and I kind of sputtered out last time, but I think this needs to be a lineman, either an edge or an interior guy. So we can take a look and kind of I like Walter Nolan. I could see him not going this high, but I do enjoy him. Mike Green, James Pierce would be the top edge rushers for me. Michael Williams sneaking in there, Shamar Stewart. There's so many different. It's just up to body type. I'm gonna take my best player. I'm gonna take James Pierce. I think just overall, he's not an overwhelming athlete, but he gets to the quarterback, and that's what this team needs. They're jotting out Jadeveon Clowney as their premier pass rusher. Derek Brown makes that easier for me to just take edge and just let's save D-line for later, interior for later in the draft. But I think this team needs to leave with an edge rusher at 8. There's so many names. It just depends on how you feel about the body type and Pierce's production.
Yeah, you just hurt your own team there, right? That's exactly what I would have wanted the Saints to take at 9. But yeah, I agree. Just go somewhere on defense for the Panthers. They desperately need help on that end of the ball. Yeah, I was really hoping Pierce was gonna fall to this pick. He didn't. He got sniped one pick before me. The question I have is do you go with a very good pass rusher in a Mike Green, or do you go with the body type that they're used to? Which is it a Dennis Allen body type? Is it Mickey Loomis body type? Who's the guy that is drafting these big guys? Because if you want to go that route, there's a perfectly fine guy staring you right in the face, in Shamar Stewart. But if you want a pass rusher, arguably the best pass rusher in this class is still here with Mike Green. Gosh, I don't know which way I want to go. I'll phone the Saints fan. If you'll have the option, I'm going to narrow it down between Mike Green and Shamar Stewart.
I'm going to take Stewart.
Okay.
All right. Because you did that, maybe I'll phone you at the end. But yeah, we get to the Bears. O-lineman. I'm just gonna narrow that down pretty easily. I think Mike Green is a fascinating edge too, to get in there with Sweat. I think you need to go after a tackle, and one of my favorite players in the class. I'm going Josh Simmons. I think he's a mover in the run game. He is still kind of getting there as a pass blocker. He left early in the season, but if this guy played a full season for me, I'm so convinced he'd be up here. He'd be resounding at pick 10, where I think most people look at Josh Simmons at 10 and go, what are you talking about? I think overall he has the size, the attitude, the movement to just be a star at in the NFL level for me. And Braxton Jones, 1 year left on his contract. He does not stop me from picking Josh Simmons, and let's figure it out for 2025 and then 2026 and beyond. Josh Simmons is my left tackle. It would not stop me. So that's why Simmons is a pretty easy pick for me.
No, absolutely. No, Simmons has some amazing tape. It really comes down to medicals and injury and,
Mm-hmm.
well, like you said. So, which we're going to kind of maybe start an offensive line run here with these three teams. For me, again, it's just going to be offensive line, continue to build this out. And it's going to come down between, do you like the versatility that Calvin Banks offers as a guy who can play both tackle and guard, or do you like who I see as just the flat out better player in Membu, right? So it's how do you want to balance this? At the end of the day, I'm going to go with the best player, and for me, that's Membu. And go out and get your tackle of the future when Trent inevitably retires within the next year or so.
Love the pick. Love the pick. Armand Mimbu has been one of my guys that he just keeps soaring up my board ever since I've watched him. Like, he was one of those true guys that I watched, and I'm like, are you guard, are you tackle for most guys? And Mimbu, he's a tackle through and through for me. So
absolutely, I was just disappointed we didn't see him at the Senior Bowl.
yeah, we get to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, fascinating. They have a Micah Parsons decision to make, which should be, how much money do you want, Micah? For me, because that guy is just a different player, and you don't let those guys walk out the door. But I'm going to focus on the offensive end. You invested in Dak. You've invested in CD. You need to get cheaper around the margins. You're picking at 12. I think Luther Burden is worth the price of admission at pick 12 because he brings a kind of a different skill set to CD. I think CD is a very vertical receiver. CD wins in all ways. I shouldn't say he's just wins vertically, but overall, Burden's strengths of being yak and get the ball in space and create yards after catch feeds off of what CD can do. And this team in the pass game really needs that. You know, you can't keep jotting out Brandon Cooks and Kavonte Turpin as feature players on the outside. So I think getting a player like Burden at 12 is well worth it. And again, like, everyone's going to talk about, you know, I know he's not on the board, but Genty at pick 12. A, I don't think he's going to be there. And B, for this team, getting Burden at 12 is more valuable for me than getting Genty at 12 because I'm more stable in what someone on the open market alongside Dowdle and getting a guy later in the draft can be as a three-headed monster rather than just dropping Genty in there and he's going to be the juice. It's just get Burden at 12 because I don't think there's a lot of guys that are as talented and gifted as he is. He had a low 2024 production-wise, but they had to throw out Drew Pine, who I'm pretty sure switched to lacrosse at Notre Dame. Or was that Tyler Buckner? I can't remember. I get all of them mixed up. All those Notre Dame quarterbacks. But I think Burden is an awesome player. So, well, let's keep going.
Yeah, no, he a lot of fun. Like you said, for me, it comes down to, again, this is a very stacked running back class. You can, if you really want a running back, go and draft someone later on. You can get that option as the board develops. For me with the Dolphins, it's trench play, and it's whatever end you want to go on. You know, you can go back to a Calvin Banks, like I just said, or we're gonna go the route that I'm gonna go with this. It's a guy that you had just mentioned with Walter Nolan. They had lost a Christian Wilkins in free agency just a year ago now at this point. Go out and get your replacement in him. I really like Walter Nolan. I think this is a little bit more of the range that we can expect for him to see, and just throw him in the middle and have him just wreck the interior of offensive linemen.
No, absolutely. I love Walter Nolan. You know, premier blue chip player at A&M, doesn't figure it out there, goes to Ole Miss, and he had some underrated tape, man, this year. and he's just been rocking it up since the Senior Bowl. If I'm the Colts and I get this guy at 14, sprint it, sprint it, Ursay. This is Will Johnson, through and through. I think this needs talent at the corner position. They need an alpha one. He is listed at 6'2", 200 in this simulator. So yeah, it's easy for me. I know he had a down 2024, but this guy is perfect in coverage. He's sticky in coverage. He has the alpha CB1 mentality. He gets a little, gambly. He gambles on some things, but it leads to high rewards. So I am easily sprinting in a Will Johnson pick at 14. No doubt about it if he's there.
Absolutely. No, if he played all of the season this year, he would not be here at 14. He just got hurt and then basically said, I'm going to be taken in the top 15 picks. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to risk it. Good luck, Michigan. Have fun without me. So yeah, I absolutely love this pick. For me with the Falcons here at 15, it is quite easy. Just go out and get a guy who can rush the passer. For me, arguably the best pass rusher in this class is right here on the board, staring me right in the face. I'm going to go Mike Green. Again, just sack artist in everything that entails. So go out and get someone who can rush the passer. And to be frank, if Mike Green wasn't there, I would be perfectly fine taking Jalen Walker. I really like Jalen.
Yeah.
I've dug into a little bit more of this film, and I throw him in there too if he's not there. So,
yeah, no, I completely agree. Mike Green, he is through and through. He is a work in progress in the run game, but again, like he gives a crap, man. He is a thumper, much like Nolan Smith was in the Super Bowl this year. So like, I completely get it. Maybe undersized, maybe doesn't have the arm length, but he gets to the quarterback and he gives a damn. So, I completely love it. The Cardinals are fascinating, man. I don't like. I think Kelvin Banks is too good of a player to get there, but then again, I'm just similar to Michael Williams. It's tough. I'm gonna opt because they took Darius Robinson last year, who is kind of similar to Michael Williams, a floor in the run game and still getting there as a pass rusher. I'm gonna take Banks. I think Banks he's kind of like on that fringe tackle guard stuff. Like the stuff in the run game really gives me hesitancy, but he is a premier pass blocker, and you just took Paris Johnson a few years ago to play your left tackle spot. You can slide Banks over. You have two really good pass blockers to protect Kyler, who are agile, that when Kyler gets into, his spots where he's running around kind of trying to make things happen, these guys can pass protect for a long enough time. So I have Banks going at 16.
Yeah. You just made that pick much easier for me. For me, it was really going to be between Mbuka and Calvin Banks, but Calvin Banks is gone. So we're going Emeka Mbuka. And this is strictly under the assumption that I don't. Yeah. This is strictly under the assumption T. Higgins is gone. I know that there's a lot of clamoring that he's going to get franchise tag, but I would be shocked even if he gets franchise tag if he's on this roster. As much as Joe Burrow wants, as much as he wants to be a Bengal, I don't know. Until we know for sure he's going to be there, I'm going to continue mocking wide receivers. And this guy he has one of the highest floors of any wide receiver in this class. He's just going to come in and he's just going to be very, very good at what he does. He's just a very, very stable wide receiver. And again, go out and get Joe Burrow weapons.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with, like, he can just come in and be the immediate Z for Burrow and just be in the right spots for him. So I completely agree. This one, I'm gonna go Jalen Walker. It's all projection. I'm putting him with Mike McDonald, and I'm telling Mike McDonald, figure it out. Let's go from there. Look at his alignments. He lined up 250 on the D line, 311 in the box. That guy he just took over the Texas game. Ever since that first Texas game in Austin, I've been circling this guy. Just a plus athlete, limited production. It's the Georgia thing all over again. But I'm really willing to gamble on the athlete, even if he is undersized and he's positionless. I don't know where to put him. We'll put him on the field. He's one of the 11. So, and Mike McDonald is a creative enough mind to find the place to put him. So I have Jalen Walker at 18.
You just
Ah,
you made that really hard. You made that really hard. I was like really banking on that being Tyler Booker there. I was like,
yeah.
yes, he's gonna take Tyler Booker at 16, and Jalen Walker is just gonna fall to me at 19, and it's just gonna be the perfect fit. Um,
I can't
well,
let
you
the
just made
Bucks
that.
get Jalen Walker.
Oh my goodness, this is bad. Um, we're gonna pivot. We're gonna still get them help on the defensive side of the ball, and we're gonna go the corner route. Um, and the guy is staring me right at the face right now. They have a lot of needs at corner at this point with guys leaving, guys getting older, and just go out and get just a very pure defensive back. And I cannot say that enough. He is again a very much a defensive back. He did everything at Texas. He played safety, he played nickel, he played outside. Hopefully, don't want him at outside. But just go out and just get a very, very good defensive back, Jahad Barron.
Hell yeah. Love it. Love it. Don't love him going. I don't love all my Texas guys going to NFC South teams. Jonathan Brooks, Bijan, now Jahad Barron. Don't love that, but hey, even JT Sanders went to the Panthers, man. It is what it is. The Broncos. The Broncos had a really good defense, a gimmicky defense where they had a lot of pressure stuff, really inflating those numbers, and also having Surtain, who won Defensive Player of the Year on the back end, really helps things. So I don't know if I need to go on the defensive side of the ball, but I think I'm still going to just because I'm intrigued with putting his body type on the defensive line. It's Michael Williams. I really like Michael Williams as a floor run setter. I know it's not a need because they have Jonathan Cooper. Benito breaks out, and I think they still have Zach Allen there in the interior. So it's not a per se need. And I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, we got to get a receiver in here. We got to get, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland. Let's get some pass catchers in there. Don't worry. I think they come in the later rounds. But Michael Williams just coming in and being what he is as a true run setter right away. You don't need him to be productive rushing the passer right away. You can let him develop, slow play him, and by the time we get into the meat of his rookie deal, I think he can be maybe not premier edge rusher, but a guy who just feeds off of what Benito and Cooper do so well because he really drives into guys. So I really like Michael Williams there. Too good to pass up.
No, yeah, that's exactly what it is. At this point in talent like that, it would just be hard to pass up on that. Um, you've kind of really forced my hand to make a pick I really didn't want to make in this mock draft. A lot of I was hoping there was going to be a wide receiver. It was going to be nice and easy for the Steelers. But there's not a wide receiver here at 21 that I like. Golden's fine. Wouldn't take him here. You forced my hand to take a guy that I am just completely out on. They don't have a quarterback. They just don't have a quarterback. They have no direction within their franchise of the route they're going to go. And it pains me to make this selection, but he's here on the board, and it would be this. No, I can't. As much as I would want to take Jalen Milroe here, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders just because he can step in and play right away. I do have Milroe ranked higher, but Milroe cannot play in the system.
Yeah, I'm like looking at the picks. Once you get past like the Jets at 7, there's a run of like all these teams have the court. Maybe the Saints, but even then they need help everywhere else before you even consider it. But you get into so many of these teams, like maybe Seattle wants a backup plan, but like none of these teams, once you pass 7, like Shador's, he could fall like Rodgers did, where it's just like, we don't have a need for this. Like, we would rather just take the talented
Yeah.
position player rather than taking a backup plan at Shador. So, yeah, no, it's hard to find a spot for him because, like I said in our rankings, man, it's just once I can't see him as a top 10 player, but it's so premium of a
Mm-mm.
position that he's just going to be driven up there that I'm not willing to do. So I'm glad you did it because I don't know where I would have put him. Maybe 26, but then again, like I just wouldn't love it. That's also because
No.
probably a Stafford trade happens or something like that. But yeah, uh, the Chargers at 26 or 22, apologies. There are ways to get. I love the running backs here. I really do love Caleb Johnson in this offense, putting him in because like Dobbins, they got the most out of Dobbins, but Caleb Johnson with limited injury and so much younger, he has so much more juice than Dobbins, but he does the thumping stuff that Dobbins and Gus Edwards did very well for this team this year. But overall, I don't know where I fall with this team. I think I'm just going to pivot to, best player on the board, and that's Derek Harmon. Pretty just
Wow.
bland and boring. Just getting Derek Harmon in the
I'm
room.
surprised you didn't do Tyler.
What? Tyler
I'm
Warren?
surprised you didn't do Tyler Warren. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, again, like the way the board falls, like they have him at rank 10. I don't know if I can get there with him. I just, again, I think
I
I'm
think
just highlighting premier positions, and maybe it's because the
yeah.
Eagles just won the Super Bowl with how premier they were on the trenches. But yeah, I like Harmon more than Warren enough to pick him at 22 over him.
Oh wow. There you go. See the difference in the big boards there. Um
Mhm.
gosh. I was for some reason think I was picking for the Vikings there, and I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm taking running back. Then I just realized I'm picking for the Packers. Um, yeah, I guess at this point, Golden is going to be the player. You just need to go out and you need to hopefully try to find someone who can be that guy within the room. I think Matthew Golden projects more as a good number 2, but you got to continue taking shots to get someone that can hopefully do that
Find
at like
difference
an elite
makers.
level. And yeah, exactly. So go and get Matthew Golden here.
I thought you were gonna pick Morrison. I thought you were gonna flood the need of corner for them. So I'm gonna take Benjamin Morrison here. I think so many of the guys with Minnesota are hitting the open market. Byron Murphy. I think Metellus is a free agent. They have one more, Stephon Gilmore. That's who I'm thinking of. So they have a position need. They only have one of these picks. They like, yeah, you can't really see remaining picks. But their next pick wouldn't come until I'm pretty sure it will convey this year. The Kirk Cousins comp pick. So the end of the third round,
Yeah.
like in the 100s. So there's a 70 drop off. That's why I don't see them tagging Darnold because I think their plan was get McCarthy, cheap contract at quarterback, and we'll use our cap this year to just shore up positions. And then Darnold breaks out for 14 wins, and now you have to have that conversation. But yeah, I have Morrison here. They just have a need for corner. I think Morrison, even though he played in 6 games this year, he's the most pristine corner on the board for me. Like even Revel has his issues. Trey Amos, big long, but I'm not thrilled with Amos. So
Yeah.
Morrison here, pretty easy.
Yeah. Big fan of that pick. This is a pick that I ended up making last draft. I'm going to continue making it again. They desperately, desperately, desperately need help along that offensive line. Gray's able is staring you right at the face.
Yep. Yep.
It's a little high for me, but you have to build that offensive line and have you slide in day one and be a starter.
Center, center, center. He is a center. I
Yes.
love it. This one, the Rams can go so many ways. can go so many ways. Warren would make sense. Loveland would make sense. Uh, I think they've spent enough capital on the defense that I'm willing to kind of cycle into the offensive portion. Alaric Jackson, their tackle, is up for an extension in this scenario. I'm not keeping him. I'm going to take Connerly. Connerly's a good long tackle out of Oregon. He's a very young player, only played 2 years at Oregon. So overall, it's maybe it's not a step in right away and play, but I think he's a tackle of the future. You can get, you know, good production out of him right away, but overall, I'm thinking about the future with this pick at 26.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that pick. You won't hear any
Darius
pushback from
Alexander's
me.
28?
Yeah, they are
Wow.
super. Yeah, PFF
Wow.
guys love him. He's old.
Oh my
Old.
goodness. I loved him at the Senior
Um,
Bowl, but 28 is
28 is ridiculous here. Um, what does the edge board look like here for the Ravens? I want to see who's still available, if there's anyone worth taking. Um, well, yeah, I have to sneak him in there, right? Yeah, for those who are new, I'm just infatuated with Donovan Ezraku, and he's very much their type. They just love to get their like these freaky pass rushers.
big, long
Um,
athletes.
so yeah, go out and get another freaky pass rusher. I when I was talking about Mike Green, I said one of the best pass rushers in the class. The reason I didn't say the best is because Donovan Ezraku exists.
I love it. Love it. This one, you made it easy for me. I'm also going to go edge, but I'm going to go with an edge I like more, Princely Uman. I think he's a first round player. I really do. I think right off the bat, he's probably a DPR, but he is a big enough dude, and he has all the tools. Like, the thing about him was, like, I wanted him to flash at the Senior Bowl, just his speed to power ability, and he did. He just wanted to be finesse. He wanted to do his spin move all the time. Like, I see the way of speed to power that it worked at the SEC level. Like, he dominated that Georgia game on the left side. So I love Princely Uman. I needed to get him in the first round, just like Azaraku for you. But yeah, it makes a ton of sense for this team to drop another edge in there.
No, I love Emmanuel, and that spin move at times though that he does, in both ends of the spectrum drives me crazy. Because on one end I was like, oh, well, look at that, and another end I'm like, why are you throwing a spin move there? Don't open up your back like that. But continuing on a run of just making very easy picks for me here. You're going to go out and you want to help your young quarterback as much as you can. And Amarian Hampton is right there. Go and take Amarian Hampton. He's going to help you in your run game. There were a lot of plays that they could have had if they actually had a very good running back, and they just lacked that talent in the backfield this year. And you add him, and they're going to make a very potent trio between, him, Daniels, and Scary Terry.
Yeah, I'll say this right now. I have Hampton running back 3. I am absolutely confident this guy's going to be picked in the top 25. I just don't know where. I think his juice and overall like rushing ability right off the bat, it's not quite the Gibbs level, but it can give you a similar impact for one of these teams like Gibbs did right off the bat for them. It depends on what team is willing to pay the price of a top 25 pick for a running back. So yeah, I love the pick of Marion Hampton. The Bills, he lasts this long. I'm just for sake of Starks in here again. Like, I really like Starks. I don't know what to do with him. He's a young enough, moldable player at safety. I think he is a single high safety, and this gives the Bills more flexibility to run more man coverage. I think they're going to spend in free agency on some corners. I don't know what their cap situation looks like, but they really showed in that playoffs that they wanted to shift into more beat you up man coverage mentality, and I think it was hard to do that because they didn't have a true, back end safety to play cover one with. So Starks, I think, can do that right off the bat. It's just, I mean, they've had a track record of not getting these first round DBs right the last few years.
Yes. Yeah, go out and get, again, a prospect that probably shouldn't be here. Again, take the BPA. And to be frank, you need safeties. Taylor Rapp and Hamilton are just, they're not stopping you at all from taking a safety.
Yeah.
That being said, NFL fans around the world are punching the air right now. And honestly, people who did not listen to our justification as to why Tyler Warren is here are punching the air right now. And they're just upset and angry that Tyler Warren fell to 31 here. But it would just be stupid. If he makes it this far, there's no way the Chiefs don't take him. Just slot in and just immediately just be the next Travis Kelce.
I wouldn't be surprised with how aggressive they are to get their guys. They trade up a little bit just to make sure. I don't know where to slot in Warren. I don't know where to slot in any of the tight ends. I really like these tight ends. Like, I think Warren and Loveland and even Arroyo are going to be in my top 35. I'm pretty convinced of that. It's just, again, the positional value argument that we always have to have. I think these teams in the 20s, there's just a bigger need for something else, and there's a guy on the board that fits the need. So, yeah, I completely agree with people are punching their monitors going, what the hell are these guys talking about? Warren at 31, are you kidding me? But, yeah. And then the champion Philadelphia Eagles. What are we doing? All right, this team already. Is this a tackle, in the waiting kind of thing because Lane's getting up there? Is there a true starter you think you can find with the board? Well, I want to phone the Eagles fan. What would you be thinking with this board?
Yeah, I mean, if you go the Howie Roseman route, obviously the easy answer would be like find someone within the trenches, and I mean there are two guys within the trenches right there that are staring at you within Kenny Grant, which I'm not a fan of. I know Eagles fans like him, but you already have Kenny Grant in your offense. Or in your defense. There's no need for Kenny Grant. He already exists at a better version within your offense at that, to be frank. Or in your defense. Or you can go Nick Scorton, get some help on the edge. But you have Nolan Smith. You've invested money in Huff. Jalen Hunt is going to continue to develop. He looked good down the stretch. Yeah, and I don't know what happens with Josh Sweat. For me, this is obviously out of the normal Eagles fan. I'm of the mindset the rich continue to get richer in terms of offensive weapons here. They did the same thing with Ertz when they took Dallas Goedert in the second round. Dallas Goedert's contract is done at the end of next year. I think if Rich gets richer, continue to just build an elite offense with an elite pass game, an elite running game, and if he's there, why the heck not?
No, I love it. Howie continues to just be he is just a value guy. Like I just find value in these parts. Getting DeJean at pick 40 when I thought he was a surefire top 20 guy. Yeah, I think Loveland provides that value. So, yeah, I think this is pretty good. Let me see if I can zoom out. There you go. There's the whole 32. What me and Ben have put together. Oh no, I mean it's 1 through, but yeah, I mean, leave comments on who you think is a bad pick, why we suck at this, and stir up some commenting. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Let us know why you're dumb for letting Tyler Warren. Well, yes, it is always so much fun to do these drafts, and expect a draft video at least once a week. Again, as the off season gets longer and as we get closer to the draft, and as free agency starts and needs become a little bit more clear, expect longer mocks with trades, stuff like that. So thank you guys for that. Uh,